Oh, it's your girl. I'm back with another Q&A. Okay. I've been meaning to do one on this whole birth control thing. I'm trying to fix this lighting here. I don't think we need all that extra light. Ugh. Hold on. Okay, I took off that damn torch lighting. So birth control is often one of those things where you're going to have to decide, okay, am I going to do this with my program or not? So I did get a couple of emails from some ladies in regards to birth control and using bovine ovarian. This one comes from Red. And she says, "Hey Rose, I had a question. I've been thinking about getting the hormonal Liletta IUD, and my gynecologist recommended over the non-hormonal copper Paragard one, since it slowly lightens the cramps and periods over time. I asked her if the hormones emitted are similar to that of birth control, but she said it doesn't have estrogen and it releases a little dose of hormone called Levin or Gestrel that only affects the uterus mucal lining to prevent pregnancy. I just finished my first bottle of BO and I'm in my second one. Do you think it'll have a negative effect?" Okay, so these IUDs are super common now. I mean, they've been really popular, right? You just shove it in there and in your uterus, and it can prevent pregnancy for up to a certain amount of time. And this one I've looked into, it's 4 years. You can leave it in there up to 4 years. So it sounds like sterilization is what, when I think of this, it sounds like sterilization. Now, if you absolutely have to be on a birth control, I would recommend being on something that you can easily take out, something that is not going to affect your fertility for the time that you have it in there. And honestly, I have no idea how this is going to affect you ladies, because I haven't tried it. I don't even have my own testimonial as far as what studies show. I mean, there's a different name for these IUD type of implants, that are birth control every freaking year, it seems. So with this one in particular, even though it does not release estrogen hormone, you have to think of it. What is it releasing? What is it doing to the body? And when I researched this, it's very similar to the other ones that have some kind of hormone released, right, in the implant. So this little hormone is a progesterone mimicking progestin. So it's a synthetic hormone that, let me go back to my notes here. It's a synthetic hormone that kind of acts like progesterone, but it's not. So you're getting the Frankenstein effect, okay? And your receptors are like, hey, it's progesterone. No, it's not. It's gonna affect your body in a unknown way until you take it and find out what these effects are, whether they're headaches, bloating, fibroids, what do they call it? Blood clots or blood thinning or whatever, because when I was working in the pharmacy, it was always like, oh, you got to be wary of these blood clots, birth control and stuff. So, going to levonorgestrel. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but basically, yeah, it's not estrogen. If anything, real estrogen would be better than this. So yeah, your doctor's right. It's not giving you any estrogen. But what happens when they give you a synthetic type of hormone, besides the unknown effects? It may or may not raise your estrogen levels. And I say that because, when I was taking the medium dose of estrogen/progesterone hormonal birth control, this was the pill, it was Norvo 777. I said, ooh, I like all the sevens. I was born on the 7th, and 7 is like a lucky number. So I chose the medium dose, right? Not too much, not too little. It only did nothing but sterilize me, and I was on it for years. So, I took it, didn't get anything, any feminization, any hormonal balance out of it. I was still hypothyroid. Little did I know. I didn't even know at the time. But the next lady who would take it may actually have a completely different reaction with it. She might have grown a cup or something. She may have had reduced cramps, or, you know, like her acne could be gone. Like, this is what I'm talking about. It's like Frankenstein effects. We don't know what it's going to do to you because it's different for everyone. It's almost strangely like, it's almost adaptogenic. We just don't know. Everybody's body chemistry is different. So this is why we can't say, oh, you know, is this going to be okay for me? It might feed cancer in another person. We all have cancer cells in our body and we're constantly fighting them off, right? So if you think about it, if we have sugar, if we have fried foods, if we have just bad chemical laden, you know, foods that are entering our body, we're feeding cancer. Same thing with herbs that have actual like progesterone and estrogen mimicking type phytochemicals. Those can feed your cancer as well. Anything that is going to feed cancer is bad. So if you've got them in your body and it's out of control, it's not a good idea, period. So I have no idea as far as how this is going to affect you with the BO protocol. I just know, like I mentioned in the past, that there's a lot of females on the forums that do have a type of progestin releasing IUD or birth control that they're on, and some swear they get results with the BO. Now, I would say don't be on it for more than a year if you absolutely must have to be on it, because guess what? It's going to be sterilizing over time. Now, anyone who's on an estrogen releasing, you know, combination type of birth control, I mean, you're going to have like a lot of estrogen dominance most likely. Again, everyone's different. Everyone's going to react different. Everyone's body chemistry is different. So really don't know. I know that a lot of females who were on the forums who had birth control with their programs, they couldn't tell if the growth was from the herbs or the birth control. They couldn't tell. All they knew is that their breasts seemed bigger. And what happens when they get off of it, besides possible sterilization, they might lose their gains. And thirdly, they were on an herbal protocol, which herbs don't really do a whole lot. They might make you grow most 30% of what you know, like 30% more of what you had to begin with. But when it comes to the BO protocol, these are like, this is your body's like in reversing sterility. If you've been on birth control, this is like, we're doing the opposite here. So if you're going to be taking a birth control and doing BO, I would say get the non-hormonal. Now, the copper IUD, my concern with the copper is having the exposure to copper. If it's too much copper in the body, you might go through hair loss or some negative effect. Not every woman is going to need copper in their body, and you've got this copper-laden thing inside your uterus for God knows how long, more than a year. It might be too long to have this copper IUD inside of the body. It might start giving you negative effects. Now, if you've got someone who is in need of copper really bad for their collagen and, you know, just like their body chemistry is like lacking the copper, this may be a good thing for them. It's non-hormonal and it's got some copper in it. But how long before it becomes an imbalance? I have no idea. So this is where it's like a needle in a haystack approach. It's so difficult because there's so many things going on in the body alone. And then, you know, we're adding a form of birth control to the mix that either has fake hormones, and then you gotta see like how much of it is being released into your body, and then how long over time you're being exposed to these things, and how it's affecting your negative feedback loop, you know, in the brain and the glands, and then the actual body. I mean, you're gonna be pulling your hair out trying to figure it out. So, I mean, honestly, I like to keep things really simple. I just feel like there's an easier way to do like family planning, but you know what, I'm not you. I don't know what your circumstances are. I don't know what your life is like. I don't know if you're just like, man, I just want to relieve cramps. You know, I've got all these headaches. And you might be able to have a relief of menstrual cycle pain, but the best way to relieve the cramping, in my opinion, is magnesium, some form of magnesium. And good forms of magnesium. I was doing a lot of salt flushes, and I had like really good results with the magnesium salt flushes once a month, and I just felt like that it helped my liver detoxifying it. And you know, drinking it internally is really crazy. It's a whole nother protocol. Look on the Cure Zone, you know, flushing out the liver and the gallbladder. I did that for a little bit, and yeah, I noticed like I didn't have a lot of cramping, but at the same time I was cleansing my body with all these greens, all these I wanted like chlorellas and just anything that was green that I can get my hands on, whether it was kale, spinach, just green stuff. Less cramps, less blood flow. If you literally want to know how to lower your hormones, you have to get rid of the animal cholesterol. So, you know, no animal fats, no like fish oil, that sort of thing. Maybe you have cholesterol. But this stuff is good for you. Not to say like stay away from animal fats forever, because no, you don't. You don't need to. All you need is just a little bit. That's all you need. And for women who are not producing enough hormones, animal cholesterol is the best form. You get the best form of vitamin D, you get the fish oil, you get the cod liver oil, you get the, you know, the butter, grass-fed butter, and like grass-fed meats and fats. You know, these things are so good for you. But if you're at a point where you're like, oh, too much bleeding and cramping, and you know, lay off the chocolate, lay off the sugar, get off of the flour, and go high raw vegan for a while. Cleanse it all out of your system and have a lot of like greens in your diet. And that's how you're going to relieve all that menstrual crap. I've been there. I know. So, but as far as doing the program, so you just have like mild, you know, forms of cramping, I wouldn't take anything hormonal. It's just me. And you know, sometimes these doctors get kickbacks for prescribing this stuff. And I know, because I used to work in a pharmacy, and they used to have the drug reps come and tell us all about these drugs. And they bring us Chick-fil-A, and they bring us all kinds of delicious, yummy goodies. And they get paid for this stuff, you know? So you can't always be like, hey, doctor, what do I take? Because sometimes they're not in it for your best interest. They just got a new birth control that they need to start signing off on and giving it to folks. And we're the guinea pigs. And it can be a disaster. So this could cause a lot of bloating, swelling. Who knows what it's going to do to your cells and your hormonal balance. If you go with it, if you go with, like I said, the copper one, you could be having copper overload within 9 months, 6 months, who knows? So this is entirely your decision, but I just need you to understand, like, when you girls, ladies, choose the birth control, you're opening up a door to a whole nother world of possible problems. And not only that, but you're going to be like, what is causing what? So keep it simple. My thing is keep it simple. And if you absolutely must be on a birth control, and you don't want to do like family planning and like the natural stuff, go with something that's non-hormonal and see how that works. And if you're going to be on this hormonal stuff, don't be on it for more than a year. You know? I don't know. I'd be so afraid to be on it for over more than a year. I feel like 2 years is too long. I feel like 1 year is too long. If you want to be on a herbal protocol, you got to be on it for like a year to 2 years. If you want to be on a bovine ovarian protocol, you got to be on it for at least a year. You can be on it for up to 2 years, but that's, I feel like a year, 2 year and 3 months is most women. So I don't know if you're going to be okay, because I really don't know what's going to do to your body, because it's a Frankenstein thing. It's like GMO. it's not a hormone that we know the body is, the receptors are just going to take. It's like, it kind of mimics it. And here's some literature that I found in regards to this stuff. It just says, micronized progesterone is a bioidentical hormone with a molecular structure identical to that of indigenous progesterone produced by the ovary. So if you think about the micronized progesterone that's bioidentical, which you can get like in Indian pharmacies, which is very strong, by the way, and this is like, I think it's like Microgest or something like that, and I've actually tried it myself, and it gave me melasma, you guys. I have melasma, okay? And ever since I've taken that, I'm telling you, it's so strong. I just thought, oh, I'll just take it. I got it from the Indian pharmacy. And I wanted to puke. It was so strong. I couldn't take it internally, but it's this little pill that they like to give pregnant women so that they don't lose their term, you know? It's like the first 3 months or so, these women have to be on Microgest or some kind of micronized bioidentical progesterone. I'd rather your birth control have the bioidentical progesterone. I don't know why they don't do that. I think it's because they know that it's non-sterilizing. They want something to sterilize the people. It's just my guess. Why make a synthetic when you have bioidentical? That's just as strong and does everything it's supposed to in the body. Well, mine raised my estrogen levels so high, you know, because I was battling the Hashimoto's still. But at the time I was in that moldy apartment. See, that was really my problem. The moldy apartment was driving up my TSH, my antibodies. But at the time I didn't know that. So I was taking the bioidentical progesterone. This was after my program. And it boosted all my hormones up. And I could tell because my areolas were really dark. And my cramping was bad. And I was feeling nauseous around that time of the month when my hormones were peaking. And if I took it internally, these little Microgest pills, I would want to puke. So I started inserting it vaginally like the last half of the month. And it was very potent. I didn't get a period for a while. It was like birth control. I'm telling you, I think bioidentical hormones, the Microgest, you can take enough of it to where you will not get pregnant, but you got to do more studies about it. So yes, that is one part of the literature that I was reading on that. So if we compare that to synthetic hormones, hold on, let me get this back here. If we compare that to the synthetic hormones, which says synthetic progestins have a different chemical structure from progesterone. These compounds mimic some of the effects of progesterone, but may have different actions on progesterone receptors. So see, you get that Frankenstein effect. It's like your body kind of recognizes it as progesterone, but then it's like, no, it's not. We don't want any more. So you're not getting like a full benefit of it. And it says, synthetic progestins may be structurally related to progesterone, medroxyprogesterone acetate, dihydrogesterone, or to testosterone, e.g., this is in parentheses, to testosterone. Levonorgestrel. I'm telling you, this is why some women get the facial hair and they are like more androgenic side effects when they're taking levonorgestrel. And then drospirenone, I don't even know how to say this, drospirenone, with differing potency and pharmacokinetics. The physiologic effects of particular progesterone depend not only on the properties, but also receptor binding. So how it's binding to the receptors. Okay, in addition to binding to progesterone receptors, these compounds may also have an affinity for androgen, glucocorticoid. It's like I think it's like an adrenal hormone. Something to do with the sugars, perhaps. Mineral corticoid. Mineral, this is so hard for me. Mineral corticoid receptors. These are hormones. Although some data suggests that MHT increases the risk of breast cancer, the risk of breast cancer may differ depending on the type of MHT used. For example, MHT containing conjugated equine estrogens. I don't even know what equine means. And medroxyprogesterone acetate has been associated with increased risk of breast cancer compared to the equine estrogens alone. Furthermore, breast cancer risk may vary between regimens containing different progestins, with some synthetic progestins exhibiting greater risk than others. The effects of progesterone have been shown to be growth promoting, neutral, or anti-proliferative in breast cells, whereas in women, synthetic progestins, especially the combination of equine and medroxyprogesterone, have been found to be growth promoting. So they're saying, what I'm gathering from this, they're saying that synthetic progestins are more cancer causing, or, you know, feeding the cancer than your regular progesterone, bioidentical progesterone hormone. So in a nutshell, you know, you're taking a risk. So I know this video is so long, oh my god, but yes, but please be careful, get on the forums, talk with the other ladies, see who's on birth control as well as a NBE protocol, and who's, you know, doing BO. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. I mean, this is what I would think, this is how I would see it for myself, you know, as far as what I should do. All right, I'm gonna probably do another Q&A because I got another one that's kind of similar.